There is so much going on in the world, so many things demanding our attention, our time, our effort, that it's easy to feel drained. And like the improvements in your life and the quality of your life aren't tracking the amount of energy that you're putting in. And so in this video, I want to share small, simple things that I do that impact the quality of my life. And they don't cost a lot, if anything at all. And they're not extravagant like going on holiday every, 2 days. And yet they have the ability to impact things in my life, from the physical to the mental. And so let's just get into it. The first thing on this list was finding a reflection method that worked for me. The power of journaling is something that I've heard about time and time again, and yet it was something that I could never quite fall into, right? It was never something that I could latch onto. And that was because the way that I was trying to go about it was all wrong for me, right? People were writing in these like 5-minute journals or all of these kind of physical books. And whenever I tried, it would last about a day and that'd be about it. And so I stopped trying to force it and decided that I was going to find a medium or way of reflecting, or if you like, still journaling, but that worked well with me. And that's when I came across this app called Day One. And I actually heard about this when I was watching Ali Abdaal. And on this app, you basically you can type just like you type into notes or anything else like that. But you can add like media like images, or you just write as little or as much as you want, and you can track and look back at a few days ago, a few weeks ago, a few months ago. And I find that this has worked so well for me and has been the most consistent I've been in reflecting, and I can see the impact it's having on my life, like being able to get my ideas out, or like sometimes like I'm at the gym and I'll take a picture of like me on the treadmill, insert that, and then just like talk about whatever I'm feeling at that moment. Or my YouTube channel just recently passed 50k subs, and thank you so much to everybody who subscribed to the channel. But like I took a picture, a screenshot of that, and like spoke about how I felt about all the people who had taken the time to leave a comment, like, subscribe, watch my videos. This one simple thing, finding a reflection method that works for you, is so powerful in impacting the quality of your life and your ability to take stock of what's happening, how you feel, whether it's negative or positive, and then draw action from that. The next thing is all about green spaces. So you may or may not know, but I actually studied geography and environmental engineering at university, and I wrote a paper on the impacts of green spaces. Now, there have been a number of studies looking into how being around plants and trees and just open green spaces impacts us as humans. And there's a lot of data that suggests it has very real impacts on our mental health. And even some studies that are going as far as to say it impacts things like immunity and actual physical health. One student from King's College London wrote in one of their papers, research shows that being surrounded by green spaces reduces anxiety and improves the immune system, and that regular contact with natural and green spaces promotes better mental health. And all of this is to say, get outside and get to your local park or open and green space and field. There are two kind of ways that you can think about this. One is obviously to bring, plants into your own space, which can be an option, especially if there are no parks around you and you live in a very urban area that hasn't really got those sorts of things. But I think being outside in itself is something completely different. Breathing in the fresh air, looking at these trees towering above you. There's something about being surrounded by the natural world that reminds us of our relative place in it, and that we are a part of this and of an ecosystem that is going through its cycles, and reminds us of our cycles and seasons as well. And I'm not trying to sound airy-fairy or anything like this, but I just want you to think about the last time you was in an open natural space and how that made you feel, right? Almost in awe. And doing that as often as possible is a small way to improve the quality of your life, right? And take those feelings with you throughout the day, or throughout a piece of work that you're doing or another interaction. The next thing on this list I'm calling turning it off. And it's because taking time out of my day to do something that is completely away from my phone has been a really important step in me grounding myself in things that are, outside the digital realm, because these apps are designed to keep us on there, right? They're designed to encourage addictive behaviors, right? That's just the way they are, right? Because that's how they make money. No shame, no shade, it just is what it is. So it's up to us to decide, take active steps to move ourselves away from them and enjoy the very physical world that we have around us. And so taking the time out, even if it's just an hour a day, I do this, to switch my phone off or to turn on airplane mode. But I think switching it off is actually completely the best, because the barrier then, or the friction, is increased for you to go and check something. Like you actually have to turn this thing on, type in your code again, wait for it to kind of, slow at the start, and then go into that app. right? There's a lot of layers and friction, which is why turning it off is so important. And doing something else that requires you to be very present in the moment, whether it is cooking, you know, on your own or with your partner, whether it is reading a book, whether it is starting a painting, whether it's starting a YouTube channel or editing a video, just doing things that are very removed from the social realm of the digital world and endlessly consuming things and being very present in that sense. Following on from that then is, I want to talk about self-care and prioritizing self-care. Taking the time out, making the time both daily and maybe weekly and monthly to take care of yourself and the one body that you have and you've been given is so key. It's so key to improving the quality of your life. And I've spoken a lot about fitness on this channel, so I'm actually not speaking about fitness in this sense, but I'm talking about the time spent, you know, on your skincare routine, or, you know, your hair, nourishing your hair, or even doing your nails, or even picking out an outfit that makes you feel good. Ideas of self-care that kind of do revolve around what you look like, but also what you feel like. The actual act of taking care of oneself is a signal to you that you matter. That is the most important thing in self-care, as well as the actual physical benefits of, you know, deep conditioning your hair. Actually carving out time in your day and your weeks to look after you is really, really important in setting up that you matter, you care, and you deserve a certain quality and standard of life. The next thing on this list is actually about being punctual. Now, this is something that I have at times struggled with, not ever really at work or anything like that, but in social settings. And I think being late for things is a very, very bad habit. In fact, I'd go as far as to say it's disrespectful. Making the conscious effort to be on time for things, activities with friends, with family, with pretty much anyone you have a reservation, at a restaurant, being on time or being slightly early is a sign of structure, respect, and planning, both to yourself and to anybody else who is involved in the activity. And it's so funny how just being punctual can impact your life, because it forces you, like I said, to be very conscious about how time is moving and how the things that you have organized fit into that time, right? And how you value it and how you value the people who are involved. So being punctual is a small thing. It's very small, but it impacts so many things. And also you'll find that you stop annoying people as much and they're not as irritated when you arrive at the destination. The final thing on this list is taking opportunities to socialize with people in everyday activities. I'd say that I'm relatively introverted, right? Like everything's a spectrum, and so I'm not completely on either side. But these opportunities during the day are a chance for us to talk to the people in our communities, all right? Whether it's at work, whether it's, you know, the person at the cashier, like whether you run into somebody at the gym. Taking those opportunities to genuinely talk to an individual, ask them about their day and listen, or ask them about something they're doing or how they're feeling, is so positive in so many ways, and so many of us don't do it. Have you ever sat on the underground and seen everyone's faces? I've actually smiled at someone before and they looked at me like I was crazy. In fact, I said once, it's happened multiple times if we're honest. Like, we're so like, I don't know you, don't talk to me. Like, that it's really crafted this very isolationist way of us being. And I don't think it's optimal for the way that humans are, or just the quality of life. So I'd say taking those opportunities to speak to people and, you know, to engage with them. And you don't have to have a crazy conversation with every stranger that you meet, but just thinking about if you do interact with people, interacting meaningfully can be a great way to improve the quality of your life, like just embedding it in your everyday. That's really what I wanted to speak about in this video, because I think it's really important to draw back down to some of the basic things we can be doing to take control over our own lives and how we feel. I'll see you in the next video.